Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Porch. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, now we are going to continue with the Showcase of the Independents. This one is kind of on the borderline. Impact Wrestling. When I first came up with the idea of the Showcase of Independents, I was looking at the Big Four and everyone else, WWE, AEW, New Japan, and then Impact being that fourth major company. Through watching the shows in 2022, Impact technically was the fifth, had the fifth most matches. So I decided to go ahead and include Impact Wrestling with the Showcase of the Independents, and then the big three, AEW, WWE, and New Japan, on their own. So Impact Wrestling, as we all know, began way back in 2002 with Jeff Jarrett and his dad, Jerry Jarrett. And then the Dixie Carter era, the Impact Wrestling changed the name. Back in 2017, we've known as Impact Wrestling since 2017. Our current champions, our Impact World Heavyweight Champion is Josh Alexander, the Walking Weapon. The Impact Digital Media Champion is Joe Hendry. If you say his name, he will appear. The Impact Knockout Champion is Jordan Grace. The Impact Tag Team Knockout Champions are the Death Dolls, Jessica with a CK because she's sick, and Taya Valkyrie. And then they also do the Freebird Rule, and Rosemary is involved in that as well. The Impact World Tag Team Championships are the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. And then Trey Miguel is the current X Division champion. In 2022, Impact Wrestling had 474 matches, 339 men, 126 women, and 9 intergender. I'm going to go over the top 22 matches of 2022 for what we know as Impact Wrestling. So on July 1st, Impact Wrestling Against All Odds, we had the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin versus the Bullet Club, Ace Austin and Chris Bay. The Machine Guns got the victory there. I gave it 3 3/4 star. From Bound for Glory, October 7th, for the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Championships, we had Honor No More, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett taking on the same Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Honor No More retained their tag titles, 3 3/4 star. Also from Bound for Glory, October 7th, the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Championship, champion Jordan Grace versus Masha Slamovich. Masha Slamovich has been in 2022 and in the beginning of 23 has really made her name on the independent circuit. She's done a lot of stuff in Game Changer Wrestling. She's been in Warrior Wrestling and some other companies as well that I've watched. She was at an Impact Knockouts Championship match against Jordan Grace at Bound for Glory. Jordan Grace retaining her title, giving Masha Slamovich her first loss in Impact Wrestling. Next up, number 19 on the list came from Impact Wrestling from September 6th. Impact Wrestling Digital Media Show, episode 34 from September 6th. We had Alex Shelley versus Speedball Mike Bailey versus Jake Something. Alex Shelley getting the victory there in a 3 3/4 star match. So on the Digital Media Show, this is the show that airs on Tuesday nights on Impact Plus and the YouTube Insider and somewhere else. And so this is probably the best match ever on that show, 3 3/4 star, this triple threat match of Alex Shelley, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Jake Something. Next up, number 18 on the list comes from Impact Wrestling Emergence, August 12th, the Impact Wrestling Knockout title line, Jordan Grace versus Mia Yim. Jordan Grace getting the victory. I gave it 3 3/4 star. Next up comes from Against All Odds on July 1st, Impact Wrestling X Division Championship, Speedball Mike Bailey versus Trey Miguel. We had Speedball Mike Bailey getting the victory and retaining his X Division Championship, 4 star. Number 16 on the list comes from Emergence on August 12th. We had Bandito versus Ray Horace. Just your basic Lucha Libre, CMLL, AAA style of high-flying match. Bandito getting the victory. I gave it 4 star. 1 year ago, July 8th, 1 year ago yesterday, we had from Hard to Kill, Jonah versus Josh Alexander The Walking Weapon getting the victory in a 4-star match. Stay tuned on Robert Sports Show this week for the preview of the 2023 version of Hard to Kill. Impact Wrestling Multiverse of Matches. This was part of WrestleCon WrestleMania weekend. Mike Bailey versus Alex Shelley. Mike Bailey, Speedball getting the victory there. 4-star match. From November 18th, Impact Wrestling Overdrive. Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion Josh Alexander versus Frankie Kazarian. And Josh Alexander retaining his World Heavyweight title. 4-star. From Sacrifice, March 5th, is number 12 on the list. Jay White versus Alex Shelley. A little Bullet Club and Jay White getting the victory there in a 4-star match. From Slammiversary, number 11, June 19th, Impact Wrestling Knockout Championship on the line in the Queen of the Mountain match. So we've heard of King of the Mountain match. This is Queen of the Mountain match. We had Impact Wrestling Champion Tasha Steelz taking on Mia Yim, Deonna Purrazzo, Chelsea Green, and Jordynne Grace. For those of you that are new to King of the Ring, or Queen of the Ring, same rules as King of the Ring, you have to get a pinfall in order to be eligible to climb the ladder. They grab the title up there, and then once you're pinned, you get put it in the penalty box for 90 seconds. Jordynne Grace, this is where she won her Impact Wrestling Knockout Championship. I gave that 4-star as well. Also from Impact Slammiversary, number 10 on the list, Josh Alexander versus Eric Young for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. Josh Alexander retaining his title, 4-star match. From Under Siege, number 9 on the list, comes from May 7th, Chris Sabin versus Steve Maclin. Chris Sabin getting the victory there in a 4-star match. On Impact Wrestling, number 8 on the list, from Impact Wrestling, from April 28th, this was episode 925, Impact World Heavyweight title, Josh Alexander versus Moose. Josh Alexander getting the victory there in a 4-star match. Number 7 on the list comes from the weekly show, June 30th, episode 934, Chris Sabin versus Frankie Kazarian. Chris Sabin getting the victory in a 4-star match. Number 6 on the list comes from Bound for Glory. From October 7th, Impact Wrestling X Division Championship. Champion Speedball Mike Bailey versus Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian winning the X Division Championship. And then he turned it in as Option C. And that's when he got his World Heavyweight title match against Josh Alexander at Overdrive. Now, if you're new to Impact Wrestling, a X Division champion has the options called Option C. You basically vacate the X Division title, and you get a shot at the World Heavyweight title. Just a shot. No guarantee. Here, Frankie Kazarian gave up the X Division title, went on to battle for the World Heavyweight title, and lost. Number 5 on the list comes from Bound for Glory as well. World Heavyweight title. Champion Josh Alexander versus Eddie Edwards, one half of the American Wolves. And yes, the American Wolves are still an active tag team, not in Impact Wrestling, but in Prestige, West Coast Pro. They've been all over the place. But the Wolves are still a tag team, just not in Impact Wrestling. Josh Alexander retaining his title over Eddie Edwards, 4.25-star match. Number 4 on the list comes from Emergence, August 12th. Josh Alexander, champion, versus Alex Shelley. Josh Alexander retaining his title, 4.5-star match. From Rebellion, number 3 on the list, April 23rd, Impact World Heavyweight title. Josh Alexander versus Moose. Moose was champion here. So when Josh Alexander, so number 8 on the list was from Impact episode 925, April 28th. That was the rematch here. So number 3 on the list comes from Rebellion, where Moose was champion going in. Josh Alexander beat him. I gave it 4.5. That rematch on episode 925, Impact Weekly, was Josh Alexander retaining against Moose. That one was 4-star. And then number 2 on the list comes from Under Siege, Impact World Heavyweight Championship, Josh Alexander versus Tomohiro Ishii. Josh Alexander beating Ishii in a 4.5-star match. The match that I thought was Match of the Year for Impact Wrestling 2022 came from the weekly show, 9/57, December 8th. Josh Alexander versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Josh Alexander retaining his title. 4.5-star match. Now, some of the matches that did not make the top 22. For example, Under Siege. We had a triple threat match. Rich Swann versus Laredo Kid versus Mike Bailey. I gave that 3 3/4. We had Mike Bailey versus Mascaro Dorado. I gave that 3 3/4. That was from episode 945. We had a Blake Christian and Laredo Kid that was 3.5 from BTI before Impact, episode number 70, June 16th. So there was a lot of great matches in Impact Wrestling in 2022. What I brought to you was some of the best that I considered. So once again, stay tuned to Robert Sports Show for the preview of Hard to Kill, which is this Saturday night on Fight TV. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show, and don't just have a great day, have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.